Welcome back to the TWSN YouTube channel. Today we have another edition of Walk-Off Wednesday. It's been a little bit since we've had one of these, but we are back. We're ready to roll. And the team that is not back is the New York Yankees, man. The second half has been absolutely brutal to this team since the trade deadline. They have the worst record in all of baseball. Not just in the division, not just in the American League, in all of baseball. The New York Yankees sit at the bottom. That is a drastic comparison to where they were at the beginning of the year. Logan, what the hell is going on with the Yankees, man? What is going on, man?
I wish I knew, Logan, because I just feel I think we all thought that the Yankees were the team to beat right away. I mean, they got the
Yeah.
raging hot start. It was like the best ever in baseball history, pretty much. But now we talked about on previous shows that their downfall was going not like a downfall, but they were going to get cold. It was going to happen, but like this, I just did not see this coming. I'm just looking at Aaron Judge. He is not homered since the first week of August, and that's just and he right now he's just at 46. He's probably going to win MVP, but he was hitless in his last in two of the three games in three of the four games against Toronto actually, and he struck out five times in that four-game series, and he's still hitting it in the 290s, but and also I want to say I think losing Matt Carpenter also was a huge blow to the Yankees too, and Jordan Montgomery, because look what Jordan Montgomery did in his first start. It was against the Yankees in St. Louis. Just dominated.
Dude, I think that
inning, and he just went off and he dealed from there.
Yeah, I think that since I don't know how accurate it was or it is to this date, but since the Jordan Montgomery trade happened, the teams have gone in drastically different ways. The Yankees are one of the worst teams, the Cardinals have been one of the best teams. So maybe it's just a Jordan Montgomery thing. But you brought up the Matt Carpenter injury, and I think that it didn't fly under the radar to me by any means, but I just kind of forgot about it because it's Matt Carpenter. He hasn't been relevant for quite some time now, but the year he was having was unbelievable. What he was doing was truly insane. And you brought it up too. It feels weird. None of this is Aaron Judge's fault. Obviously he's been not MVP caliber of late, but this team just ride or dies with Aaron Judge. Just no matter what it is, the team is totally capable of being fine without Aaron Judge. I have the star power, but it's just Aaron Judge dictates everything for this team, and right now he's not playing the best. Maybe it's a little bit of less protection with Matt Carpenter out of lineup. I have no clue what it is, but this team, last 17 games, they're 3-14. Since June 24th, they're 21-30. They have been playing horrible baseball. And it doesn't seem like there's a pinpoint reason why they're really struggling. They're just not winning baseball games. It's just a little bit of a different story every night. The bullpen has been struggling. The closer situation has been iffy. The rotation has been a little iffy. Garrett Cole hasn't been great. It just seems like everybody's just Everybody's just whatever, man. We were so good. Now we're struggling. They don't seem to they're not bothered by it too much because they started off so good. It's a weird situation in New York. I have no clue how to feel about it.
The problem is that we crowned the Yankees as World Series champs so quickly, and we forgot about teams like the Astros who are now hot. And hey, I also want to mention this. Matt's not here, but Matt's team, the Dodgers. They got Joey Gallo, and Logan. His average when he got traded was 159.
Yeah.
Now he's hitting 267, and he had a great series against the Marlins this past week, and he made a great throw out of left field. Joey Gallo. I read his stat the Dodgers were 14-0 when they traded him for him, and the Yankees were 2-12. I don't know what it is, but it was going to happen. But now that he's gone, and I understand that you could also blame injuries. You also forgot that of course Carpenter's gone, Stanton is still gone. But still add into the injury, you trade away Joey Gallo, and now he's doing this. The problem is that we were just crowning them as champs too soon, and we forgot the teams like the Astros are obviously the much better team than them altogether because they they had an excellent deadline. They got Trey Mancini, they got
Hmm.
good pitching, and they got a good bullpen. We just crowned them way too early, and I
It's
think the Astros. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to the World Series and the Yankees they get bounced out.
yeah, it's so like we kind of talked about the historic start the Yankees had was one of the best starts we have ever seen. But at this point in time, with their struggles, if they felt untouchable for a long time. But they have the fifth best record in baseball right now, which again is phenomenal. But when you look at where they were, it's just such a letdown. The Dodgers currently have the best record in baseball by 5 games. And you got the Mets, and then you have the Astros, and even the Braves have a better record than the New York Yankees right now. And like you said, there's a couple of the injuries. There's a little bit of everything going on in New York right now. But the Cardinals are creeping up on them. Even the Cardinals, like the St. Louis Cardinals, are 5 games worse than the New York Yankees. They're right there. Same thing for the Padres. Like these teams that people wrote off. The Phillies are kind of hanging around there too, like 8 games behind. These teams that people,
the Orioles, like they're
yeah,
like 2 games out of the third wild card, and everyone was like, I remember I was watching the ESPN telecast on Sunday night, like they like the over under wins were like in like the low 60s. They exceeded.
They have 63 at this point in time. Maybe by the time the video goes live, it'll be a little more than that. That division, like everything about the Yankees right now is just not going. It's just not going their way. And I think the Yankees, they're the big market team, right? They are. But I think they need to trust what they have and embrace a little bit of the youth movement. Oswaldo Cabrera has been phenomenal since being called up. And there's still plenty of better prospects than him that they can call up to kind of bridge this gap. But they just refused. I'm not sure why they didn't call up, Peraza, some of these other guys, because these are what they're missing. You don't need to go add veteran presence. You have all that. You have all the talent in the world. Trust your farm system. You didn't, they kept these players. They kept all of their top prospects for the most part. For what? This is your window now. Your window to win a World Series is right now. If you didn't trade them for more frontline starters, for a starter better than Frankie Montas, whether that's Luis Castillo, or you unloaded it for Carlos Rodon, who didn't end up getting moved, whatever it is, you kept these prospects. You have to use them now. You can't just let them sit there. You have to continue to make your team better, and they will. There's some people on this team. Harrison Bader still really hasn't, came back either. So that's another thing that's kind of holding them back with that Jordan Montgomery trade. Which again, why is that the trade we did? Frankie Montas has been
terrible. He's been terrible.
You know what I mean? That's being nice about it. We talked about it on our trade deadline recap episode. Frankie Montas is horrid outside of Oakland. Horrible. And terrible. Shocker, he's still horrible outside of Oakland.
He's in line to pitch against the Mets in the Subway Series, but and that after that they go to Oakland, maybe hold them back and give him some of that that juice
give him some nostalgia, man.
Yeah, right.
It's just I loved the Benintendi move. That was really good.
Yeah, I did too.
He's been pretty solid since coming over. Montas, I wasn't the big fan of it. He's been terrible outside of Oakland. I think they should have came up of a few more prospects, but in hindsight, they could have played the Montas deal a little better because it's all for the same reasons I just alluded to. If you're not going to call up these prospects, then you should have traded them to help you now. A guy like Luis Castillo under control for a few more years, Tyler Mahle under control for a few more years, the Marlins, which are Lopez, under control for a few more years. You could have unloaded these prospects to get some controllable pitching, but you got to use these guys then. They can help you win right now, and you need help winning right now. You got to quit relying on the veterans to a certain degree. Mario Gonzalez, Tim LeCastro, all these guys. You got to get new people up here. You have a good farm system. Use it.
You can't rely on Garrett Cole and Nestor Cortez and Jameson Taillon for that's not the rotation I would want heading into the postseason because they're gonna end up playing probably the Astros again, and I think that the Astros have a better pitch rotation. I think that the Yankees, like you said, Logan, they should have gotten better pitchers at the deadline because, like you said, the Mariners, they'll still have Luis Castillo, the Twins, they'll still have Tyler Mahle. Those are the kind of moves that you should have made. And it's just one of those tough situations where like the Yankees, they were on the great start, but now like we're kind of like seeing like, okay, I think right now we're starting to overlook them and take some other teams.
Yeah, the Yankees, man, like obviously they need to get a little healthy. Stamp needs to get back. But then again, like even you look at Matt Carpenter, they didn't claim Matt Carpenter expecting those numbers. So like I wonder
No,
how like Matt Carpenter was so extremely valuable to this Yankees team. Like, and you're kind of seeing that right now. Not that like he carried this Yankees team. Obviously, Aaron Judge is the best player here, but he was immensely valuable. How they got him, the production they gave him was just unreal, and they haven't been able to replace that. Nobody can really replace those numbers if we're being honest. Like, it's
yeah, because
massive
he was
blow.
on like a Babe Ruth type. He was on like a Babe Ruth type of tear. I thought he was gonna
Yeah,
get such a good.
the dude was unreal, and I don't know how this ends for the Yankees. I truly
Me
don't,
neither.
because all the Yankees gotta do is get hot again. As dumb as that sounds, this is probably gonna end one or two ways for the Yankees. They're either gonna continue this horrid downfall and just kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers a few years ago in the NFL. They started off undefeated 11-0 and then lost like 8 games in a row. It's gonna be something like
Yeah,
that, or they're
I'm
gonna.
just looking.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their schedule right now. I mean, after they play the Mets for 2 games, they go to Oakland, to Anaheim, to Tampa Bay, and then they play the Twins to begin September. So like they gotta beat up on these teams. Like it's that simple because
Yeah.
the A's are going nowhere. Angels, they have Otani and Trout back, but they're not going anywhere. The Rays, they're getting hot, but like, come
Yeah.
on, you had the number for many years now. You gotta
If
beat these
yeah,
teams
if they
because
really struggle, they really struggle against Oakland and the Angels. And I don't mean like lose games, but they should be winning these games handedly.
yeah,
Like they shouldn't be close. You should at least sweep one of the teams. What is it? Is it a 6 game set between the two, or is it one of four? Uh,
right now it's yeah they have the A's for 4 games, Angels for 3, so
so
they got a
seven
nine
games.
game West Coast trip. Yeah,
Yeah, so they need to walk out of that 7 game
7 games.
series with bare minimum, absolute minimum of 5 wins for me not to be concerned. Like
Yeah,
you have to beat up on these teams. You have to. It's just these are your get right games. You got to get right. Like that's
yeah,
exactly what you need. You have to figure it out now, because if you continue to let this thing spiral, who knows if it's going to be fixable to a certain degree once it kind of gets down there. Like I don't know if
yeah.
it's going to be recoverable.
I mean, you know,
I just don't. I mean, I think I saw something. The Blue Jays have made up like 10.5 games.
yeah,
The Rays are coming. The O's are coming. They're lucky Boston isn't that good right now. Like, a lot of things have gone right for the Yankees, but man, they have
yeah. As of
been
right now,
horrid.
yeah, as of right now, they're 8 games in front of the Rays and the Jays, 10.5 in front of the Orioles, and 14 ahead of Boston. So, like, I'm just looking at their away record. I mean, they're 31-28. Like, so, like, they just don't play well on the road sometimes, and like that's just like that, and especially when you're most likely gonna have to play a team on the road in the postseason. That can't happen.
Yep, their upcoming road trip is going to tell a lot for this team moving forward.
Yeah,
So now that we kind of got the Yankees out of the way a little bit, the Yankees had this just unheard of start to the year. You said people were crowning them World Series champions. It's this is going live on Wednesday, August 24th. So at this point in time, who are you crowning the World Series champions just like we crowned the Yankees a couple months ago? Who is your World Series favorite, you think, at this point in time?
I wish Matt was here because he would love for me to say this. It's the Dodgers. I mean, like, come on, like look at what they're doing right now. I mean, they already have a winning season. They have 84 wins. They have 43 wins at home, 41 on the road. They're 18 games in front of San Diego, who would just pull off probably the biggest trade ever. And the Dodgers were like, so what? I mean, they played them like a week after, like 3 days after they acquired Juan Soto from the Padres. Holy shit! Like, I'm just looking at the Dodgers team. Like, once they get like they're doing this without Clayton Kershaw and without Walker Buehler, who's done for the year, and they got Dustin May back. So like,
Yeah.
This Dodgers team is just like incredible, and I think it's going to be like the coolest thing ever because this could happen. That we could see a Dodgers Astros World Series rematch, but I'm crowning the Dodgers right now as world champions. But like we've always done in the past, like we always crown them as champs, but they always choke in the playoffs. But I'm holding my tongue. I'm gonna say right now, as of right now, it's the Dodgers.
I can't argue with the Dodgers too much, and I know, there's just still something about the Mets, man. Like I just refuse to go against at this point in time a healthy DeGrom and Scherzer. I think whoever gets the ball in game 3, that's where the question lies as at that point in time. I got some guys having good years, but still, but who cares? If you got DeGrom and Scherzer going the first 2. So a team with that, with Diaz in the bullpen, it's hard to really go against that. And we haven't even talked about the offense. Francisco Lindor is having a resurgence. If you guys want to act like he ever went away, Pete Alonso is having an incredible year. They have so many people just having solid years. They're going to need a couple other little veteran presence they've brought in to kind of step up. Marcana, Marte to kind of keep it up. Eduardo Escobar to figure things out a little bit. But Vogelbach's been pretty good since coming over. Tyler Naquin's been solid. It's just kind of hard to forget about the Mets a little bit. I mean, especially like I said, it all is going to come down to the Mets' success will forever and ever come down to the health of Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer.
I'm just really just like so they're gonna make the postseason, but I'm just holding my breath because like these Braves, man. They scare me. I mean, to put it into perspective, that was their on Sunday against the Astros. That was their first loss in 2 weeks. That was not against the Mets. Like when we took 4-5 against them during the second week of August, we were 7 games ahead, and then the Braves went on an 8-game winning streak. Mets cooled off, and then the division lead was back down to 3.5, and then the Braves took 3 out of 4 in Atlanta. Then it was 2.5, but now it's 4. Like they did this with 2 out of 3 from the Astros, and I thought the Astros were gonna finally have their number. So the Braves. Like everyone's just seems to forget about them because the Mets are in first place, but the Braves they just scare me. And we played them the last of the season, and I'm praying to God that series means nothing for the Mets because they need to have because they have the 3rd easiest schedule in baseball in September. They only play one winning team, and that's the Falling Brewers. So They need to take advantage of these terrible teams that playing. The Pirates, all those teams.
Yeah, we've talked about them a little bit, but I still like this Astros team a lot. They've gotten better. Their deadline is very good. Lance McCullers has had a few starts under his belt now. Hopefully, he can kind of get back to his once dominant form. But the Yankees, man, it's put up or shut up time for them. I know that feels a little bit exaggerated. But it's really hard to come back from the fall that they're having. This 7-game West Coast road trip is everything for them. That's something I'm going to be watching really close. We'll be here next week to kind of talk about how the Yankees are, some other big moves, risers, falls, whatever it is getting down to the nitty-gritty in the MLB season. The playoffs are approaching. The divisional races are getting tighter and tighter, and we're going to be here same time, same place next week to break it down for you guys. Thank you for tuning into this week's edition of Walk Off Wednesday, and we'll see you next week.